Hippocratic Oath itself will provide a tangible reminder of the wisdom of Hippocrates for future generations of health professionals for years to come. My name is Karen Kaplan. I serve as Assistant Vice President for Public Affairs at UT Health, which means I just get to brag on you for a living. And I am honored to introduce the gentlemen who have given us such a memorable reason to gather as one community today. It is now my great pleasure to introduce to you a woman who has spent her entire professional life in service, not only to UT Health, but in service to others. As a physician, a pediatrician, as a teacher of the art of medicine, and as a leader in modeling the principles set forth by Hippocrates, please welcome the Vice Dean of Admissions and Student Affairs at UT Health Medical School and Special Assistant to the President, Dr. Margaret McNeese.
Thank you, Karen. Carlos Arizate, close enough. Welcome to you all. I'm especially honored to be here today, this afternoon, and I'm the stand-in for Dr. Colasurda, who sends his regrets as he was unexpectedly called away. But as an amateur classical medical history aficionado, this occasion is especially meaningful for me. And this occasion, I've often wondered what it would have been like to sit under a plane tree on Kos to study medicine. And now, hopefully, I'll be able to watch a plane tree grow. Again, today I'd like to welcome Consul Papanikolaou, Mr. Remediakis, Dr. Checkles, and Dr. Volohanis, who was one of the members of the UT Health family at one time and is now a physician at Memorial Home. And Doctor, I understand that we're honored today that your family is here from Greece. So I'd like to welcome them as well. Again, thank you all for coming. This is a wonderful occasion, and we're also very pleased to have you.
Thank you, Dr. McNeese. That is now the end of my reading. I now have the marvelous honor of introducing a man who we are proud to call not only consul, but our friend. Consul Georgios Papanikolaou represents the Consulate of Greece here in Houston. Born in Athens, Consul Papanikolaou studied international relations and international economy in both Greece and France before completing his master's in the same areas of study at the American University and Georgetown University here in Washington, D.C. He has held several impressive posts in the Greek Ministry of Foreign Affairs before arriving in Houston 4 years ago. Please welcome Consul Georgios Papanikolaou.
Honorable Vice Dean, distinguished guests, today is one of these days that really make you proud to be Greek and being able to bring inside you this astonishing heritage of our ancient times. And as Hellenes, we always love to say that the impacts of our achievements and legacies can be recognized widely in the United States and are further exemplified by the American people. So today my government, along with the Hellenic Culture Center and its members, bring to Houston one more iconic Hellenic symbol, a cutting of the original Hippocrates plane tree that used to grow by the sanctuary where he practiced and taught medicine in the island of Kos. Besides Boston University, this campus is the second in the country to host this type of tree and the only one to showcase the historically accurate copy of Hippocrates' bust, made in Athens by a local artist and according to the standards of the Archaeological Receipt Fund of Greece. I'm thankful to a number of people and entities who contributed in this project. First of all, the generous donors of the tree, the municipality of Kos, and Professor of Biology, Professor Vasilis Zanis at Boston University. The Hellenic Cultural Center, who financed and coordinated the project, and Dr. Ted Vologiannis, a good friend of mine, and an excellent professional who was instrumental in setting the ground for our conversation and collaboration with UT Health. last but not least, I cannot stress enough the pleasure to work with the excellent and dedicated team of the UT Health Center. James, Bruce, Erin, Karen, and Adam, they have been true professionals throughout this period. Dear friends, the significance of this tree and of this statue is obvious. As a vibrant community living in this city, we believe that the medical world of Houston, the students, and all involved in the healthcare system deserve to be informed about the real roots of medicine, about the emblematic figure of Hippocrates, and his immense contribution to the science. At a time when people believed that diseases were brought upon humans by gods or spirit as a punishment for their actions, Hippocrates first stated that disease was nothing else but the result of natural action. In other words, he was the first to challenge the conventional wisdom of ancient times and bring something new and something radical to the science. I firmly believe we couldn't have found a better partner and better place to revive this legacy. Standing in the heart of the Texas Medical Center, UT Health Center has exactly the same mission: to educate people, open up new career paths, and create new challenges in health and medicine. So by planting the tree here in this space, we create a link and a bridge between the past and the future, between the old medical school of Hippocrates and one of the most recognized health science centers in Texas. Before I conclude, I would like to make specific reference and dedicate this event to all the Greek and Greek American doctors and physicians who are here with us today. Many of them received education in Greece upon the basic tenets and ideals of Hippocrates, and later decided to take these teachings and values in this beautiful country. I hope this plaza, this small part of land with Hippocrates looking on, will serve as an inspiration in their careers and as a reminder for the priceless heritage they carry as scientists and as Greeks. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your kind attention.
I want to call your attention to one additional artifact that I had asked Dr. Volianis to bring with him. This is the book on Hippocrates that Greek-educated medical students must study, must pass a test in the ancient Greek, all on the life and the teachings and the philosophy of Hippocrates. So later at our reception, take a look. It's remarkable that one has to know to the depth what this great philosopher had to say. Our next new friend has been instrumental in another gift to UT Health, and this gift truly does give meaning to the phrase, the art of medicine, because it is indeed a piece of art bearing the official likeness of the father of medicine. In a few moments, we will be the first to see the bronze bust of Hippocrates that will sit atop a marble pillar. It was crafted in Athens, as the consul mentioned, and it is taken from the original cast from the original sculpture. Please welcome the president of the Hellenic Cultural Center of the Southwest, Mr. Yannis Remediakis.
Vice Dean Dr. Margaret McNeese, Honorable Consul of Greece, doctors and students, presidents of Greek American organizations, officers of Hellenic Culture Center, distinct guests. It is unique honor today for the Hellenic Culture Center of the Southwest, acting as the federation of most Greek organizations in the city, to organize and in collaboration with the UT Health and the Consulate of Greece in Houston, to present to the medical world of Houston the bust of Hippocrates, the father of medicine, as well as the planting of the plane tree that is branched from the original tree of the Island of Kos, where Hippocrates used to teach and ask his students to take the original oath. The position of this settlement is symbolic. In front of the entrance of the prestigious University of Texas Health Department, It would be a dream come true to attend new doctors, giving the oath of Hippocrates in front of this tree, just like it happened 2,400 years ago. Hellenic Cultural Center is devoted to bring to our community the best Greek civilization has given over the centuries. I would like to invite all of you to help our goals in the HCC to bring more of these events in the future. Two comments. I'd like to announce that this autumn, HCC will organize a special event to honor distinct doctors of Greek heritage for their contribution in health science. For more details, please follow us in the Hellenic Culture Center website. The second comment would be one of the Greek, I would say, culture. I would like in public to say Χρόνια πολλά to all Georges and Georgias that happen to be here today, starting with our consul. Today we celebrate their names day. So Χρόνια πολλά. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Nicholas Chaglas to talk about Hippocrates. Other than being a doctor himself, who will be talking for the father of medicine, I'd like to mention that Dr. Chaglas is one of the founders of Hellenic Cultural Center. Please.
Thank you, Yanni. Yanni didn't mention it, but when he asked me to speak today, he told me that I was honorary chairman of this event. So you know what an honorary chairman is? That's some old geezer that was put out to pasture a few years ago. Anyway, I do consider it an honor to speak here today, and I'd like to thank Dean Bernice for inviting us here. I'd like to thank our consul, the Honorable George Papanikolaou, and I'd like to thank our president, Elias. No, George Nikolaou does not play for the Rockets. I need to make that clear. That's another Papanikolaou. But anyway, my job here is to talk to you about Hippocrates. In order to understand Hippocrates, you have to understand what medicine was like when he lived. It was very different than it is today. You doctors here can relate to this. There were no microscopes, no x-rays, let alone MRIs and CAT scans. There was not even laboratory work. There was no knowledge of chemistry. There was no knowledge of physiology. The doctors had only their eyes, their ears, their hands, their sense of smell, and the patient's history to guide them. The history was extremely important. As stated later in the aphorism by Sir William Osler, he told his students, listen to the patient. He's telling you the diagnosis. Doctors would be well served to listen to those words today. The state of medicine back in Socrates' day, or in Hippocrates' day, was very primitive. The doctors had only a rudimentary knowledge of anatomy to begin with. This, I think, they got mostly from dead animals. Dissecting bodies was not accepted in those days by Greek society. The prevalent school of medicine in those days was called the Cnidian school. In this school of thought, the doctors thought that all disease was organ-centered. In other words, you had to have a diseased organ to be ill. Also, the doctors of those days believed in strange things. They believed bodies were possessed by demons. They believed that disease was the wrath of the gods. They may have felt that the patient had been cursed by somebody. They believed in supernatural occurrences. Excuse me a moment. The prevalent theory back in the days of Hippocrates was that there were 4 humors that caused all disease. Actually, the prevalent theory among the scientists of that day was that the world was composed of 4 elements. These elements were water, heat, earth, and air. The body had parallels to these elements. For example, the water element was phlegm, tissue fluid. Heat was called yellow bile. The earth became black bile. And air was represented by circulating blood. Disease was caused by an imbalance in these 4 humors. So the work of the doctor was to restore balance to the humors. So what did Hippocrates do when he saw this state of affairs in the practice of medicine? Remember, he grew up and lived during a glorious period in Greece. A period when there were great minds and great ferment in wanting to know things. The Greeks of the day, including Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, believed that the way to find out the truth was by using reason and logic and arriving at conclusions that made sense. So Hippocrates began to look at the state of affairs and he decided the first thing that we needed was some sort of classification. So he began to catalog signs and symptoms and illnesses and to classify them. This was a small but important beginning to scientific approach to medicine. He told, among other things, these things to his students. The body itself is the primary healer. The doctor, first of all, had the job of doing no harm. Later, this came to the Latin of the age, it became prima non nocere, which means first, do no harm. This has become the first rule of medicine and should remain the first rule, I think, for all time. He also told his students their job was to comfort the patient, both mentally and physically. The doctor must assure cleanliness. He must stress moderation in diet and in exercise for any ill patient. He should relieve pain if he is able to. He must also learn all he can about what is truth or fact in the cases that he's treating. In a way, he agreed with Socrates, who said, the only evil in life is ignorance. What did Hippocrates contribute then to the study of medicine? Well, to begin with, he described in detail the signs and symptoms of the following diseases: pneumonia, tetanus, tuberculosis, arthritis, mumps, malaria. That's quite an accomplishment, don't you think? He essentially began the study of etiology and pathology of diseases. The corpus of his works includes some 60 books and treatises. It includes studies of air, water, climate, geography, weather, as they relate to disease processes. He also wrote a book of aphorisms. What are aphorisms? I think medical school students today call them pearls of wisdom, things that help you make diagnoses. I should say a little bit, I think, about the Hippocratic Oath. The oath primarily related to physician behavior. Hippocrates felt that doctors must always be men of honor. He set out rules for their conduct. He developed rules for the doctor-patient relationship and stated that these rules must always be professional and above reproach. The oath, since that time, has been modified to meet modern standards in modern medicine. There are various schools in the country that use different forms of the Hippocratic Oath. And I think that's fine. The important thing is that the rules of conduct for physicians be the highest that they can possibly be. Today we even have help from the government. We have HIPAA rules to protect patient privacy. We have mandatory electronic record keeping to keep good histories. We also have the interjection of third parties. We have HMOs, PPOs, we have a myriad of insurance companies, all of which feel they have a duty to direct the practice of medicine. But let me tell you that we should never forget that the practice of taking care of patients lies primarily with the doctor. We should never forget that. Well, to go on, I think that's a thumbnail sketch of Hippocrates and the thoughts that he developed. But what about the tree? What's this tree all about? In ancient Greece, people often went for their medical care to temples that were scattered throughout Greece. The most famous of these were the temples of Asclepius, or Asclepius. So the temple where Hippocrates taught was an Asclepian temple. The patients would come there to be healed no matter what their malady was. And it was there at the temple of Asclepius that Hippocrates taught his students. As some of you know that have been to Greece, all of you that have been there, the climate in Greece is very nice most of the time. So a lot of these classes were held outdoors. Indoors was not as comfortable. There was really not good ventilation. There certainly wasn't air conditioning or heating. So outdoors was where one would prefer to be. How about in the shade of a nice tree? Well, growing near the temple on the island of Kos, there was a large plane tree. A descendant of that tree, this is right here. And we're going to plant this descendant to grow and hopefully flourish in our medical center, so that students may have some connection with ancient medicine and the fathers of their profession, and hopefully to go on to great medical careers. With that being said, I think it's time to plant the tree.
So now, if I may ask Dr. McNeese, Council Papa Nicolaou, Mr. Remediakis, Dr. Checkles to come to the front so that we may commence with the ceremonial planting, please. Thank you. This tree has a good start in life. Our youngest medical student is growing right there. And now, for our last wonderful gift, I would like everyone to count down from 5 as we unveil the statue, the bust of Hippocrates. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, everyone, this concludes the ceremony. There is absolutely nothing that UT Health will not do to find an excuse to serve good spanakopita, baklava, and Greek wine. So please join us down the walkway for the reception. Thank you all for all these wonderful gifts to UT Health.
Λέγομαι Θόδωρος Βολονιάννης, είμαι χειρουργός εδώ στις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες, στο Houston, εδώ και 15 χρόνια. Ο πρόξενος της Ελλάδας, της χώρας μας, ο Γιώργος ο Παπα-Νικολάου, είχε την καταπληκτική ιδέα να βρούμε την ιδανική τοποθεσία για να φέρουμε το δέντρο του Ιπποκράτη, ένα κλαδί από το αρχικό δέντρο, και να το φυτέψουμε σε ένα ιατρικό κέντρο στο Houston. Και μέσα από συζητήσεις που κάναμε, η ιδέα ήταν να το φέρουμε στο μεγαλύτερο ιατρικό κέντρο του κόσμου, στο Texas Medical Center στο Houston. Εγώ είμαι εδώ επίκουρος καθηγητής της χειρουργικής στο Πανεπιστήμιο του Houston και κάναμε τις συναντήσεις με τον πρόεδρο, τον Τζουζέπε Κολουσάντο. Η ιδέα τους φάνηκε εκπληκτική. Μαζί με όλα αυτά είχαμε και την ιδέα να φέρουμε την πρωτομή του Ιπποκράτη, η οποία έγινε στην Ελλάδα και δωρήθηκε από τον Ελληνικό Σύλλογο Hellenic Professional Society στο Πανεπιστήμιο εδώ πέρα. Πιστεύω ότι με αυτόν τον τρόπο οι φοιτητές των επόμενων χρόνων θα μπορούσαν να πάρουν τον όρκο κάτω από αυτόν τον δέντρο, όπως κάναμε και εμείς στην Ελλάδα. Εγώ αποφοίτησα από το Αριστοτέλειο Πανεπιστήμιο το 1998 και πήρα τον όρκο του Ιπποκράτη, έδωσα τον όρκο του Ιπποκράτη, και θα μπορέσουμε να φέρουμε το πνεύμα της ιατρικής και του πατέρα της ιατρικής και στην Αμερική και να μπορέσει για πάντα να συνδεθούν τα δύο πανεπιστήμια, το δικό μου και το Αριστοτέλειο και το Πνεύμα της Ελλάδος με τη μοντέρνα ιατρική των ΗΠΑ. Σας ευχαριστώ πολύ.
My name is Eva Valili, and Hippocrates really represents to most rising physicians as someone who really established how sacred the relationship is between patient and physician. And being a Greek American, my parents were both raised in Athens. My father is a Greek physician practicing here in the United States. And we were always raised to believe that it's always good to respect someone who is ill and to try to make them better. And being a student here at UT Health, I've not only valued the input from faculty on the basis of the Hippocratic Oath, but also of what my parents have raised me to believe because of Hippocrates. And this is really a good emblem of what a physician should be, to really value patient input and to really respect their privacy.
Μεγάλη μέρα σήμερα για το κέντρο του πολιτισμού του ελληνικού στο Houston. Φέραμε τον Ιπποκράτη στο Πανεπιστήμιο του Houston, στο Health Department, ίσως ένα από τα μεγαλύτερα κέντρα ιατρικής του κόσμου. Θέλω να καλέσω όλους τους Έλληνες που βρίσκονται στην περιοχή, στο Houston, στο Τέξας, να έρθουν να βοηθήσουν όλοι. Τα έργα αυτά θέλουν κάποια δουλειά, θέλουν ανθρώπους. Οι άνθρωποι θέλουν να ξέρουν τι κάνουν. Θέλουν να ξέρουν ότι βοηθάμε το ελληνικό πνεύμα να έρθει κοντά σε όλη την ευρύτερη κοινότητα εδώ στο Houston. Θέλουμε την νεολαία να έρθει. Κάνουμε διάφορα προγράμματα για νέους μεγαλύτερης ηλικίας, για όλους τους Έλληνες. Σας καλώ λοιπόν όλους. Ελάτε, κάντε join. Ενωθείτε μαζί μας. Και αν υπάρχουν οι οργανισμοί μας, υπάρχει η ΑΧΕΠ, υπάρχουν οι Daughters of Penelope, υπάρχουν οι Πανσίπριανς, οι Μακεδόνες, το HPST, όλοι αυτοί οι οργανισμοί χρειαζόμαστε τους Έλληνες και τους φιλέλληνες. Θέλω να ευχαριστήσω όλους όσους δούλεψαν εδώ πέρα. Ήταν ένα μεγάλο project και πολλοί άνθρωποι δούλεψαν χωρίς να αμοιφθούν, γιατί απλώς πιστεύουν αυτό το οποίο κάνουν. Τους ευχαριστώ όλους. Και να πω και να ευχαριστώ στον αγαπητό μου φίλο τον Ηλία, τον Neofytide, που είναι πίσω από την κάμερα και έκανε όλη αυτή τη δουλειά να μείνει στην ιστορία. Να στείλω χαιρετισμούς στους Έλληνες στην Ελλάδα και να πω στους Έλληνες της Ελλάδας ότι εδώ πέρα, 10.000 μίλια μακριά από την Ελλάδα, ο ελληνισμός ζει. Πιστεύουμε στο ελληνικό όραμα, αγαπούμε την Ελλάδα και τους Έλληνες. Προσπαθούμε για ό,τι καλύτερο είναι δυνατόν. Να δώσουμε στον κόσμο ό,τι καλύτερο έδωσε ο ελληνισμός στη διάρκεια των χρόνων. Ευχαριστώ.